So we're now going to move from the Appalachian Mountains of Kentucky via the University of Bristol to Sweden. And the next speaker, Martin Kaberg, who has the incredible right of being both a psychiatrist and an infectious diseases doctor, very jealous, comes to us from the Karolinska Institute. Over to you. Thank you.
Thank you for that introduction, Ashley. So I'm going to show you some data on Hep C elimination among people who inject drugs in Sweden. These are my disclosures. And just as a background, the last region to implement NSP in Sweden did that only last year. And you can see the big 3 cities in Sweden implemented Niels Fringe programs in different times, when Malmö started already in the 80s, Gothenburg as late as 2018. At the time we introduced the Niels Fringe program in Stockholm, we also introduced a national quality register collecting data, which is a clinical decision tool, but also a register for research. And focusing only on Hep C this time, we collect data on blood tests, repeated RNA tests, treatment, and we have a high coverage in Sweden, reaching over 98% of NSP participants. So last year we introduced a dashboard, so the people working at the Niels Fringe programs could play around with data, look at changes in prevalence and incidence, and we could also aggregate data from local to regional to national level. Looking on the national level, you can see a dramatic decrease of prevalence. The red bars are mainly related to introduction of increased treatment of Hep C, but you could also use different variables to look, for example, at homelessness, gender, age, and this you can play around with in real time to identify groups or people who are needed extra focus for Hep C treatment. So, for example, when you look at people who live in homeless, you can see that they start off from a higher prevalence and have not reached as low prevalence compared to the whole cohort. If we compare the cities, you will see that Malmö here is on a lower prevalence level, around 8% compared to Gothenburg and Stockholm, mainly explained by starting off on a lower level of prevalence from the start, and probably related to starting Niels Fringe programs already in the 80s. Another thing is we can also play around with incidence data, which is quite unique. So we can follow incidence in real time, we can compare periods, we can compare years, and in 2023 to 24, we saw overall incidence of 8.48 per 100 person years. And looking again at the different regions, you see that Malmö has a lower incidence rate compared to Stockholm and Gothenburg. So really interesting hooking on to what Peter presented previously. So in conclusion, I think the National NSP Register facilitates real-time estimation of hepatitis C prevalence and incidence. We can use the data to compare between regions and really benchmark. Of course, we all want to be like Malmö or maybe like Gotland, one island where we actually have reached elimination. We can see a 23% reduction, actually 78% counting 2025 data, and decreased prevalence from 50% down to 30.5. And we can also see a decreased incidence rate of around 50% from 7.2 to 8.5, but we have a long way to reach the WHO elimination goals. Thanks.